Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. There's an XRP analyst that states, those buying now will see the largest gains. Now that's in reference to not Bitcoin, but the rest of the crypto asset class, of course XRP included. He's a chart analyst that I cite, I'd say fairly frequently when I put together videos that are pertaining to the price, which is what this video is. I've got all sorts of opinions to share with you in this video, including members of the XRP community who are chart analysts, as well as others in crypto media and beyond, and just some interesting articles on the topic of price. And so there's a theory that I first shared with you at some point within the last several days or so, I want to say, in one of my videos that related to price. And it was the concept of Ethereum. It was on, there's an XRP analyst who was stating that Ethereum's been on a downward trend for a couple years or so, and that there, if it breaks past a certain point of resistance, that could be the catalyst to just really get the whole alt season moving. And so he's the only one that stated things quite like that. But what caught my attention, there's another article I will be showing with you. There's another analyst that believes that indeed Ethereum is about to break past that particular resistance level, or somewhere thereabout anyway. And so I found that interesting, caught my attention. Not an Ethereum channel, but look, everything's interwoven. So I wanted to share that since it's an interesting concept worth following, as well as Bitcoin price, because let's be real, the price of XRP is, for the foreseeable future, to some degree or another, tethered to the price action of Bitcoin, whether we like it or not. But utility will win the day. That's my investment thesis. Not financial advice, no financial background here. Don't buy or sell because of me. But I do believe utility will indeed win the day. And that's why, as a result, to me, there's no way in hell that XRP will forever be tethered to the price action of Bitcoin. If anything, expect a flippening and then expect a Bitcoin to chase XRP's price, which, interestingly enough, has happened at least 2 or 3 times this year. XRP has actually led the market. Prior to 2019, correct me if I'm mistaken, but that had never happened before. So times are changing. These are just early indicators, I think. I've also got an article. This is just one of the headlines here. I think this is one I wanted to pull up. Yeah, here we go. 3 things stopping Bitcoin from returning to $20,000. So I got that and a bunch more. But before we get going any further, if you would please delicately tap that like button. And if you're a fan of Ripple and XRP, go ahead and subscribe to the Moon Lambo channel so that we can be friends. Maybe even best friends. Into the content. Live Coin Watch, it shows we got the market cap at $231 billion for the asset class, Bitcoin at 8,530, and XRP at 26.4 cents. Now, I was looking at this chart, and this just caught my eye. I don't know that I've seen oscillations quite like this, and I'm presuming that the collection of this data was accurate, but if you can look, you don't have to look if you're driving or whatever. Don't feel like you're missing too much, but it's just interesting. So for those of you who can look at your screen, it's just interesting that you see these huge price spikes, and this is over this is a 24-hour chart, mind you. Then it pretty flat, drops way down, pretty flat, goes way up, back down, very flat, back up, back down, very flat, and then back up. Like, that's a weird looking chart. Like, I usually don't see it quite like that. And I'm not a chart guy, so I'm not indicating that means anything. I just don't really remember anything, seeing anything personally on a 24-hour chart. But again, just disclaiming, I am not a chart analyst. I'm all about the fundamentals. I just like following the opinions of chart analysts out there who claim to know what they're talking about. Maybe some do, and maybe they're wizards, but maybe some don't, right? So let's go ahead and hop into this article from AMB Crypto. XRP's price may witness surge post-descending channel breach. So this is definitely a positive outlook. And this is written by Sahana Kiran here. The XRP community has been longing for the price of the altcoin to go above 30 cents. The price of XRP did hit 30 cents twice since the end of October. However, it was for a brief period as the price dipped back to 26.5 cents or so at the time of writing. Despite the drop, XRP witnessed a 1.08% rise over the past 24 hours since press time. The short-term prediction of XRP also complemented the surge as it hinted at a bullish pattern. Now, and when I share content like this, I'm not looking to get too technical. This is not a technical channel. If you want that, you can find that elsewhere on the Webernets. It's not on the Moon Lambo channel. I just want to share sentiments from a bunch of the chart analysts that I follow, including some in crypto media. So I'm going to skip through most of this and just share with you the conclusion. From Sahana Kiran here, it states, considering the formation of the aforementioned pattern, the price of XRP may breach 26.58 cents and head towards 30 cents. So bullish sentiment there. Now take a look at this. This is what I wanted to share with you. Well, it's what I was most looking forward to sharing with you in this video, okay? This is from Patty Stash. Now, he's definitely an XRP analyst, but not just an XRP analyst. He has I'd say it's fair. I think it's fair to say he has a pretty strong focus on XRP, talks about it all the time. He's a defender of it. I've seen him in one of his very recent videos defending against the concept, because some people, like to call XRP an S-word coin, and I'm not cursing because there may be kids in the background somewhere, but they like to call it an S-word coin, if you know what I'm talking about here. And he says absolutely it is not, and so he's definitely a proponent. So I don't know if he actually considers himself to be in the XRP community, but he's talking about XRP a lot. And so his whole thesis right now, his whole idea of where the market's going is he's very firm in the concept that there will indeed be an alt season. The last video I had where I highlighted him, it was sharing with you his new idea, his new belief based on the charts, and I showed you the charts associated with the beliefs that he shares, that if Ethereum, given that it's been going in a downward trend for 2 years, if it breaks past the current resistance level, that could be what triggers the altcoin season and ultimately XRP, which is interesting. So here's what he wrote. Indeed, I'm a strong believer those buying now will see the largest gains. But you also have to remember the only people seeing those opportunities are those active in crypto now. In a few months, no coiners will pour in, pushing everything way higher and increasing the volume. And indeed, that is certainly what you saw in 2017. And that wasn't the first time. It's just when things are in a lull, when there's not as much going around, historically, regardless of asset class, that could be an indicator, and this is not financial advice, it is not, it could be a good indicator that if you believe there's longevity in a certain type of asset, maybe it's a good time to get in when there's not as much attention, but after people have FOMO'd in, historically, probably not the best time. So if you believe that there's going to be more action in crypto, if you believe the asset class has staying power, this could be quite the opportunity for you. Now, for me, I am only buying XRP because XRP is the only cryptocurrency being used in the commercial production of anything. I know there are a lot of others in the XRP community listening right now that invest in other stuff, and that's perfectly fine. I don't blame you one bit. Do it. It is such early days, and I could certainly be wrong about any number of things. But for me to feel safe continuing to put money in, I want to put it in the only coin that's seen any real adoption. And some people like to cite VeChain, and maybe that is a perfectly fine project. Maybe it'll go somewhere. I don't know. But in terms of the actual coin being used, I've not seen that. I'm seeing the blockchain being adopted. Anytime I look into it, that's all I find. But if there's a reason that you believe that VeChain will have staying power, even without the coin actually ultimately being used, I'm interested in hearing, if we're talking about just a fun critical thinking exercise, if you want to put your case forward. I'm open ears. I'm open-minded, but I want to hear a strong case if I'm going to be persuaded into investing into VeChain or any other sort of cryptocurrency. Now, here's another tweet from Patty Stash. Bitcoin dominance looking awful and slowly slipping under major support. If this falls through and it's confirmed with volume, then I can't see how Ethereum won't blast over its major resistance. Everything seems to be perfectly lining up here. And again, this is key from his perspective because, as he previously mentioned, if this occurs, it could be the catalyst that really starts alt season here. And I'll blow up the chart in case anybody want to freeze the screen and see what the heck he's talking about here. But this is a Bitcoin dominance chart. Market cap of Bitcoin dominance. And there you go. So he thinks it's going to be decreasing here. All right, a next tweet. This is also from Patty Stash. XRP/BTC looks good for a reversal on the micro scale. Pushed over trendline resistance. What excites me about this is how close both XRP and Ethereum are from breaking out while altcoin dominance teeter-totters on breakout. A boost from the second and third biggest coins would set the market off. So there you go. So in this particular tweet, he's talking about both Ethereum and XRP, and just the other day it was purely XRP. And actually, the tweet that I had here where he was citing Ethereum, that one was also from this afternoon. So he seems to be most focusing on the potential Ethereum breakout, but he thinks that in conjunction with XRP would really get the market moving. So we'll see. I just like to report on this stuff. I enjoy following it just as much as you. I'm just not a chart analyst, so it's fun to follow and learn from others anyway. All right, take a look at this. Analyst anticipates imminent upside for Ethereum. I'm going to be real brief with this. But this is the other chart analyst that I was talking about. He's at the token analyst. And I don't really want to read through this, but I'll just give you just a couple sentences here. In spite of the declining trading volume, I'm talking about Ethereum, it is important to note that Nick Patel, a popular cryptocurrency analyst on Twitter, explained in a recent blog post that he anticipates Ethereum to continue trading sideways for some time before eventually incurring an upwards break that could send it past its strong resistance at 200. Actually, that might have been a separate one. I apologize if I am mistaken here. I thought I had that lined up properly. Definitely, regardless here... yeah, here we go. Assuming that Ethereum is able to continue climbing higher as the weekend wraps up, it is highly probable that $190 will be its immediate resistance level, as it had been struggling to break above this level for over a week in the time prior to its recent dip to $180. One factor that may play into Ethereum's near-term price action is that its 24-hour trading volume has died by nearly 50%, according to data from a token analyst. So there you go. Okay, so that was the part about that. Okay. Got you. So I think you got the sentiment there. That's the gist is maybe something is about to happen with Ethereum. All right. Next here, bull run intact. Long-term Bitcoin price indicator remains long. And this is from NewsBTC writer Nick Chong. And I want to be real brief with this one too. Analyst Kao Jones recently noted that the Ichimoku cloud, a de facto all-in-one indicator that shows long-term trends, recently printed a very bullish signal. The Kumo line flipped from red to green, implying a long-term bull trend has formed. The analyst remarked that Bitcoin has never failed the Kumo breakout in its entire history on the weekly. And so to me, that's like a polar opposite position of altcoin dominance increasing. So it's just like, what the hell is everybody looking at? Like, they're looking at different stuff, and I read stuff like that. That's why I just want to share everything with you so we can kind of track and see who's right about this stuff. Like, it's interesting to watch unfold nonetheless. But so there you go. Bullish news on Bitcoin from Kao Jones. All right, next here, and this is from XRP community member Aquaflow. And I legitimately, I want to share this with you. I share stuff with him when he posts it, when I catch it, and when I make a video like this. But I don't know what this means, and I'm not going to pretend I do. I'm still going to share it. Somebody tell me why I'm stupid and don't know. So he tweeted this out. Impact with the wall approaching. This is XRP. I hope you're all ready for winter, and here's the chart associated with it. I literally don't know what that means. I want to know what it means, so I'm sharing it with you. Help me, especially if you're Aquaflow. I'm sorry, I'm probably missing something obvious, but like I admit all the time, I am not a chart guy, but I just thought I'd throw it out there. Usually the stuff that Aquaflow puts out there, it's easy even for a simple mind like Moon Lambo to understand. So there you go. Anyway, next here, here's a piece from You Today by Denny Sarachuk. It's titled Bitcoin Price Analysis, Analyzing Chances for $8,500 Break This Week. And I think the part I wanted to cover in this one was down here. Oh yeah, here we go. Are the bulls ready for a return to $9,000? Bitcoin has broken through the $8,500 resistance mark as trading is higher in this area. Furthermore, a figure resembling a double bottom has formed, favoring growth. The short-term goal is to gain a foothold above $8,500 and gradually push the price upwards and break through the resistance of this downward wedge. Currently, there are prerequisites for this to occur, as the trading volume is high between 8,650 and 8,750, right? Looking at the big picture, the situation is less positive for Bitcoin, as trading below the 50-day moving average and the 100-day moving average. And that's significant. And I know that, even not being a chart guy, I understand that is something that is indeed significant. So it makes me wonder, is the implication more so that Bitcoin will continue to trend down in that direction? Could there be something to the impending alt rally concept? We'll see. All right, 3 things stopping Bitcoin from returning to $20,000. Here we go. And let me scroll down. Slow adoption from institutional investors. All right. For years, there has been much talk of institutional investors entering the crypto space. Bitcoin's properties, such as decentralization and security, make it a great investment vehicle for all types of traders. However, institutions remain hesitant to take the full plunge. There have been a few strides into that space, such as institutions offering Bitcoin futures contracts and other cryptocurrency derivatives to investors. Many hoped that the launch of the backed platform would attract investors, but it's been off to a rocky start. There seems to be 2 big reasons why institutions continue to have cold feet. The first is simply the unknown that comes with investing in Bitcoin. While Bitcoin has been around for almost a decade now, Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies remain very much an experiment. No one knows what Bitcoin's fate will be. It could go the way of MySpace. paving the way for another cryptocurrency to take dominance. And yeah, by the way, I want to state I'm kind of in that camp right now, right? Not 100% sure. I'm just highly skeptical of Bitcoin. Anyway, or the entire cryptocurrency market could go away, resulting in a failed experiment. That will not happen. I'd say I'm 100% certain that will not happen. And there are reasons for that, which I cite on the channel, having to do with real utility and business models that could not exist without crypto. Anyway, the other problem many institutions see with Bitcoin is the custody problem. Many traditional assets are insured or backed by either the government or large institutions. These firms can rest assured that their stock holdings are highly unlikely to be hacked or stolen. However, with cryptocurrencies, it's a different story. And that's a fair point, but I think that those problems are largely being solved or in the process of being solved right now. And you do have, for instance, public pensions that have invested in cryptocurrencies this year. In fact, I had a story recently where there were a couple that had invested earlier this year, and now they're upping the degree to which they've invested, and I covered that. The second reason being technological woes, and I don't really want to read through this. It just had to do with lack of adoption of Lightning Network. It just doesn't seem to be going anywhere, at least not right now. We'll see. And third reason being general Bitcoin market sentiment. And it states on top of the problems Bitcoin currently faces today, there is also the issue of market sentiment. It seems like there simply isn't enough hype to drive Bitcoin back up to the 10,000s. During Bitcoin price return to 13,800 earlier this year in June, industry commentators were hopeful that crypto winter was officially over. However, since the intra-year peak, the leading cryptocurrency has been back on a downward spiral as bears squeeze momentum out of the market. When Bitcoin originally reached 20,000, the hype surrounding cryptocurrencies was off the charts. It appeared to have reached the mainstream, and tons of non-tech investors were rushing to invest in the new big thing. It was being discussed on multiple news channels, hitting countless headlines, and exchanges were seeing millions of new signups per day. However, it seems that fever isn't present in today's crypto market. There just isn't much happening in the space that would cause another massive spike in investors. We will have to wait and see what comes around that could spur a new wave of investment into digital currency. That's why I always speculate. I've always felt it kind of in my gut, and this is just... Look, the biggest run-up in the history of crypto happened like a month and a half, like it happened a month and a half after I entered the space, or something like that, a month after, whatever it was, for Bitcoin anyway. And I just kind of thought with how massive that was, the degree to which it was massive. And I'm talking about in terms of dollar gains, not percent. I mean, percent too, sure, but I'm thinking just in terms of massively, how much dollars, how many people came in. Many got burnt, some stuck around. Like I was one of the ones that stuck around for sure. But just given the scale of what had happened, and you got a market cap reaching 800 and something billion, just a little shy of $1 trillion for the first time. And given that the degree to which it crashed, I always just thought, man, it could be, I don't want to sound too negative here because I'm not, I'm just trying to be a realist, but I always thought, man, it could be years and years before this comes back. But I just like, I'm going to double and triple and quadruple down because I know how humans behave. I've researched this. The frenzy around this is not done, even if it's not going buck wild right now. So that's just my opinion, not financial advice. I'm just saying that's my opinion. And I think that we haven't seen the last parabolic run up in Bitcoin or XRP. That's what I think anyway. All right, last piece I'm going to be real quick with. Sunday Digest, Bitcoin price and the race to rule the blockchain space. And there's just part of this I wanted to cover. It's a subheading titled Bitcoin Price More Consolidation from Bitcoinist.com. There hasn't been a lot to get excited about for Bitcoin price this week. Whilst the late push last Sunday saw Bitcoin poke its head over $9,000 once again, retracement the next day saw all of those gains wiped out. Price then remained mostly range-bound between 8,700 and 8,800 and seemed quite content with its sideways action. That is until Friday, when a couple of hours trading saw a couple of $100 wiped from the space. Since then, Bitcoin has hovered around $8,500 mark, again seemingly comfortable to move sideways for the time being. So another week of consolidation then, and we will just have to wait and see which direction price heads next. Some believe that a crash to $7,300 is the next likely scenario, whereas others think that a bull run could be due as soon as the next week. So, in other words, humans have no freaking clue. Anyway, this was written by Mulio Janis of Bitcoinist.com. So, anyway, lots of different opinions. I'm just sharing it with you. You can tell me what you think below. Who's got it right? Who's got it wrong? Or do none of them have it right or wrong? Is there something else going on? I love hearing from you guys. Feel free to drop a comment below, but that's it for this video. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!